know if you could hear the airplane or not. There's an airplane up on the runways about a mile and a half away. This is the ambient decibel pressure. Robin just flew by. Boy, I just listened to Steve Miller and Eminem, Abracadabra, Houdini, Abracadabra. Steve Miller is in the very beginning of the song. Boy, his words really resonate with me, huh? Something about getting so hot and it won't turn down. And all you do is spin me around and around. Yeah, it's like Denzel Washington talking about it's a jigsaw puzzle with missing pieces. That's a good one. I got cut off my last video. I never deleted videos off my phone. And the phone just stopped because it's full of memories over capacity. And I was talking about this fake company and identity called an NSO group. Listen to the birds. And I got cut off right whenever I started reading the paperwork. Oh boy, I didn't know the phone got cut off. There was a lot I said. Because this paperwork tells a story since 2021. But anyways, before I get into this book, where these papers are at, the spy on the book, the actress that plays as a spy, Nicole Kidman here, had a pretty interesting dream last night. So I was trying to connect the ground for my eyeball. I see wavelength, roughly about 14 inches. It's kind of translucent. And it has like a spherical object on each side of it, about 14 inches, and there's a spherical object, and it's kind of translucent. It's not black like dirty electric, and it's not white. There's a little bit of white in it, but it's kind of translucent. But I had this dream last night, right before I woke up, and I woke up and I was able to stay in the dream. So, like, I woke up and I was able to keep this like a artificially general intelligence going in my head like this, because the eyeball's a camera, you can't deny it. And I met this chick. She was a black chick. She kind of was fat, but she wasn't fat. But I think it was like the AGI that just blows people up. Because there's people that have been in my dreams that I know, and they were super fat, and they're not fat in real life. Like, they're fat. So what happened was, I was with some people. There was like a bar. There's these baskets hanging at the bar. Like, you look up and you see these baskets. It was like craft making baskets. There's this guy. He had like a little mustache, and he kind of had an appearance that he was someone I knew. Somebody they call Vince. Little kid, kind of like a speech impediment, and they wanted to make a basket. So I'm sitting there, and I started making one myself. And next thing I know, I like ended up at a church. There was a bed, and this black chick was there, and we started talking or something. And I laid down next to her and at this bed. And at first, she was pretty pissed off at me. Visible light communications, cordial gestures. It's kind of like the same thing that happens from the power lines. And here's the next obvious thing. If you look down there at the power lines on the ground, you can't see the tension wires. Who's going to solve this one? Like right here, you can see the data cables, but you can't see the tension wires that are up on top. There's the pole. Where's the tension wires? Why can't you see them? Someone really needs to solve what's going on here. Because we're looking for puzzle pieces, hidden pieces in a jigsaw puzzle. We're looking for what's going on. But this chick, at first we got off to a bad start, and then I had to tell her, you know, I don't do these things that you're doing because I go to court. Like just go have a doctor's visit, go visit police stations, and then go to court. There's a lot I could say, huh? There's a lot I could say of why I go to court. And then she started being cool, and we started laying down. And then there's this tall chick. She's really tall, really pretty face. And there's someone wearing a neon green shirt. It looked like a Latino dude. And I ended up in a church. I'm trying to remember as best as I can. Then I get back, and I had this crazy idea that I wanted to have sex in church. And I went to go look for this black chick. She was pretty hot. We started dancing too. We were dancing together. And whenever I go to look for her, I ended up teleporting. And the next thing I know, I was in a car with Denzel Washington. Kind of like an old car, and I thought I was going to buy like go do a drug deal or something. Because I remember talking to the black chick about if she's ever done cocaine. And there was someone else in the car. And then all of a sudden, I turned over. I'm in the passenger seat. Denzel was driving the car. It was like an older car. And I just started talking to him about meeting that girl. And I was kind of concerned about what the hell was happening. Because, I've been clean for 5 years. My blood's 100% clean. There's not even marijuana in my system. So, like, I don't know what's going on, but there are some what some people call strange things happening until you read this book, because there's all kinds of stuff, spyware out there that I run into a guy that knows cameras. He says, yeah, cameras are very small today, and it's used for spy purposes, like stuff that they give people in the CIA and stuff like that. But the only thing people keep forgetting is weather control, geoengineering, weather. It's the only thing people want to incorporate into their whenever they talk. Oh, it's just for spying and clean, but they forget about up there. And the problem is, if we have it here, you go to Canada, they're going to have it up there. If you go across the sea over to the UK, Spain, or even down south of Brazil, it's going to be there too. Because this is weather, and weather goes around the planet. And the tools that they use, it doesn't even have to be these transmitters for our cell phones. It doesn't have to be HARP or any one of the locations where this HARP is at. It doesn't have to be any of this. Because when we're dealing with cameras so small, these cameras can make antennas too up in the sky. Everyone keeps forgetting this. And that's why geoengineering is becoming one of the forefronts of humanity, because when you can't find this stuff in our transmitters we have now, you got to start looking up. And not to mention the problem is with geoengineering, since my electric bill went up because there was 5 hours of lightning. I can only imagine what they said down at the power plant. after this lightning. They're like, oh, we're raising the bill. But how much electric was used? Because you could pull it from the grid and make lightning with this and put atmospheric pressure up into the sky. Atmospheric pressure from these wires, from these houses. So all the houses are connected, all the grounds run underground. I can only imagine what the power plant said if they hid this. Because there had to be a huge draw of watts from that power plant when there's 5 hours of lightning outside of this house here. And there's a tornado a couple weeks later. So it just makes me wonder, like, what was said? Oh, we're just going to raise the price. Maybe that will make people, instead of talking about it, yeah, our electric grid's being used to control weather. And the other problem is there's no facility for this. Like, I can't go to a building and say I'm concerned, or I'm just showing interest. I want a job. There's no building. This is being all done remotely. It could be done from in these houses. It could be done from apartments. People working remotely. And then it's all video games. Like, it's not just the weather, okay? There's people that are doing other things and being very greedy about what's going on using nano antennas. Because, I don't mean to go off on a super tangent here, but just over the years you watch television, you hear people talking about beings that are not human. Oh, it's the beings that are not human doing all this, blah, 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 blah. But the thing is, these beings know this nano shit. And then the blame goes to the being for human beings being greedy. Because they don't know how it works. And then I kind of agreed the tornadoes that are happening over households and communities. I kind of agree, like, yeah, it's kind of a must to figure out what the hell's going on. What's 20 or 30 of them in a day? Now we're being a little malicious. Well, the reason why I say I agree, because we're using this neighborhood sort of like a circuit, like a circuit. Okay, and each one of these circuits, you got to imagine there being a pulse coming up from that house, and then down the street there's a pulse going up from that way. Sort of like a reciprocator. And the other problem that sucks too is these electrics, these grounds, just like this cell phone right now. There's no ground on it. It's not plugged into the charger, because that's where the ground would be. Now it's just on a battery, just like a Tesla car, any electric car, anything. There's no ground. So what happens? They call it a floating ground. And that ground's just on a human body. Because you have a floating ground as a human. You got trillions of volts running through you, and you have a floating ground. There has to be a way for whenever you start feeling bad, what happens? You kind of like lay down and try to ground yourself, don't you? Try to get this dirty electric off of you. All provable, but this Louis Pasteur germ theory shit is really ruining people's brains. And the other one I thought about yesterday was, when you go to the doctor, they ask you if you've been vaccinated. What's your medical record? What's your history? Have you been vaccinated? And I just started thinking, since there's all these new medications that you could see on the television, you watch the news station, and you get these advertisements for pharmaceuticals. And every one of these pharmaceuticals, there's a list of symptoms where you get every disease known to man from side effect. No, this is where the cable guy lives. Works for Xfinity. Black guy. Blows me off whenever I talk to him. I can't say anything to him. Oh, look, there's the truck there. What is this? 178 Greenlee? You got me on G. Look right in front of his house. Couple amplifiers stepped on. Look at all these node points. There it is. I can't even, this is my neighbor. This is my neighbor. I can't even go ask him and show him paperwork. He's supposed to know all this shit. He's supposed to know. And I can't even talk to him. Doesn't that raise a red flag? Like, he won't even talk. He'll just walk away. He'll drive away. He'll just drive. But anyways, back to it in these pharmaceuticals. So when a doctor asks you if you had a vaccine, is he going to give you a specific medication? If you didn't have a vaccine, is he going to give you a different medication? Are these medications being formulated for people who have vaccines? There's medications formulated for people who don't have vaccines. And this makes me want to go do a social experiment. Say, it's none of your business. What are you going to do if I had a vaccine or not? And then do it again. Say, yeah, I had a vaccine. Same problem. See what gets prescribed. And then say, no, I didn't have a vaccine. And then see what gets prescribed 3 times. And it's going to be 3 different medications from 3 doctors. Yeah. Artificial intelligence is coming to your local doctor very soon. That would be one to really socially experiment on. You go to 3 different doctors, talk about the same thing, but say if you had a vaccine or not. And then you don't tell them. It's none of your business. Oh, I got a Trumper here. Donald Trump. Is this a New York plate? Donald Trump. Here he is, Donald Trump. New York plates. So anyways, am I still, yeah, we're still rolling. I never got into the paperwork in this book. The Spy, Nicole Kidman. There's no birds this morning, by the way, again. The birds were silent. If you go back and review a lot of my old videos, whenever I first woke up out of the house to go watch the sunrise, you could hear the natural sound of the birds. They all get together and start singing before the sun even comes up. And here's the part I'm going to tell everybody what's going on right now. That piece of paperwork I found talking about the military making a haunted walkie-talkie by taking lasers in the sky and making a ball plasma. Heating the sky and making a ball plasma. And being able to figure out how to get a sound like a speaker out of thin air to come down over an area. And they could do this from, they said, 30 kilometers away it works best. As of right now, I know they figured out how to get it closer. Because that was in 2018. We're now in 2024, approaching 2025. And there's a military base, an Air Force base right there. And I got people working remotely. You can't go to a complaint center. You cannot go to a complaint center. But like I was saying, what's up, boys? How you doing? Good morning. Hi. Good morning, you guys. But there's no complaint center to go to. There's no complaints to go to file. And then, wow, Talk about ring resonance here, huh? Just when the wind blows, if you have these pieces of gear on you that they use for geoengineering, more importantly, federal wiretapping, and anything else that has to deal with VR, AR, using nano instead of have big, bulky, heavy equipment, the shit hurts. And since we could get into the electric grid and tie into it and get into the houses, the ground wires on the houses, oh boy, does it hurt. You start running electromagnetic interference, which is called harmonics. Oh boy, does it hurt. It'll drive you nuts, give you a headache, and it'll probably make you fucking die. Give you a heart attack, headaches, nausea, getting... There's no need for me to keep going, because here's another light beam box. Like the guy said, there's no voltage and amperage in this box, and it comes by light beam from the central office. Look at that. Does that burn up, huh? Oh, what happened here, huh? We got a bunch of carbon on the side of the can here. Well, we got burn up. Pretty hot, huh? Pay attention to the bird sound, if you can hear it. Because it's shifting. It shifted from that tree over to here. Like a focal point. And as I was saying, there's no complaint center. And there's no way to tell, hey, someone's heterodyning. Somebody's creating a plasma field over my community. And it's making a speaker out of thin air, which was figured out back in 1996. I have paperwork stating that you can make a speaker out of thin air to target a particular individual in a crowd of people. No one else will hear it but this one person. It's pretty interesting to find. Speaker out of thin air. Just look it up. Then you could look up technology for your ears only. Technology. These new zones, they're learning how to make zones out of light amplification systems emitting radiation. Lasers. You make a zone in a home or even out on the street. You're going to seem like you're walking into different realities. And it will be connected right to the power lines. Multi-phase grounding. And when you start doing multi-phase grounding, look out, because now your harmonics, jeez, dude. Imagine the harmonics you can make with multi-phase grounding. And if you don't know what phase shifting is, frequency shifting and amplitudinal shifts are, I highly recommend you learn and find out. So as I'm continuing here, we're talking about complaint centers from haunted walkie-talkies. There's other technologies for using magneto to do a remote neural modulation. Remote. This isn't something on your head you wear. This is stuff that from these lasers that can be made from standing waves. Okay, all you have to do is learn what a standing wave is and electrical reflections. Electrical signal reflections. And it's occurring on our power lines. And then this causes a standing wave. And these standing waves are being used as zones. You could draw from this. Wattage, get free power. And the power company's going to raise my fucking electric and not pay attention to what the fuck's going on. Sorry, I speak with lightning. But Duquesne's Light Company. Now there's other electric companies out there. Oh, this is the good one here. Because they deregulated electric, didn't they? And you guys are responsible for the hardware to link. Duquesne's Light Company. You're responsible for all the hardware. Now these companies are offering a discount to go with them, and all they do is bill me. So that means they have access to my smart meter, and that's your fucking hardware. Sorry, but for nobody to talk about this and how this works, it's very concerning. Because there's a lot you could do. And, I just seen an ad the other day. They're paying people $45 an hour. $45 an hour just to walk around. Just to walk. So we could use these geolocation tools. Figure out what the hell's going on. $45 an hour. Where's all my back pay? That's what I would say. And then half of them don't even know what the hell's going on. They can't look at the ground and the grass and see something's not right, and they won't even listen to the birds. But I'm probably one of the most severe cases on the planet, because I am being used for harvesting of all nanomaterials, all physio materials. It's like, here's the thing. They've done experiments in the past where people started yelling at snowflakes or little pieces of rice grains. You say "I love you" to the snowflake, and it looks beautiful. To the rice grain, it stays in this healthy little bubble in the water. And then there's these snowflakes that turn into like little balls of shit. The rice fucking grain turns into a black ball of shit. You say "I hate you," and that's what happens. It turns into a black pile of shit. Somebody's trying to do that with my aura. The same way as they did the speaker experiment on a metal plate. You play a frequency, and you put salt on it, and it makes this beautiful pattern. That's what the human body does. Somebody's trying to keep me under a static pressure with electroceuticals. If you don't know what electroceuticals are, go look. Because what that is, you go to physical therapy, they put an electrode on you and start sending pulses to your muscles. And you can change the wavelength of this and turn it into like almost a gamma radiation thing. Because gamma gets really small. It's like a pinprick. And just put it on someone. Oh boy, you if you like pain, come hang out with me. We'll see if we can get you set up. And somebody's trying to harvest. They could give a shit. We could get these good crystals off anyone because they buckle. This hate crystal shit. This hate frequency. Just destroying a lot of shit. And I'm telling you guys the answer. Telling you the answer. When you have 9,000 volts pressing through your body, it's a lot of pain. It'll make you feel like you're 10 pounds heavier because it changes the weight. And there's something on me now. Just imagine little fucking balls of lightning. Ball lightning being able to be controlled. Just little tiny little pieces of ball lightning flying around, and they'll fly right into your face and explode. Just imagine that. There's something else I was trying to get out about this spot. Did you hear that bird? Its tick rate was pretty high. And they're coding the trees. They're using trees as servers. No, these are real birds. Just like a human being's brain could be remotely fucking modulated with magneto, so can a bird. It's not like it's a mechanical device with circuitry in it. And this shit's been going on for so long. And now it's finally got attention of other folks. And it's been going on for so long, and there's been so much. There's $40 trillion worth of patents out in California right now. and they made a fucking sun out of laser beams. It's happening in my backyard. $40 trillion worth of patents and Soros' name's all over this. There's a facility in California, 7,000 acres fenced in. Got cameras out there, special shit. Just like you walk out in the desert at Area 51, they have little sensors out there. They have people come get you and shoot your ass. Same thing's going on in California. And there's $40 trillion worth of patents for new energy. Artificial intelligence, creating this new energy to get it out to the people. So we'll be able to get rid of the power lines. And stop all this, dark web shit. Touring onion router, there it is. Not too many people will be able to tell you this shit. Like, consider yourself on a team for, the boxes of files wearing all black. See the shirt. You know what they do here? I thought it was just a school for business. This is a school for math, too. And I found out from a guy named Mr. Brown up the street that's in the computers, and there's a hell of a server up there at his house, and the frequency changes. Oh, there's some teachers up there. Oh boy, they're really involved in math and numbers and for electrical engineering. And the military's there. There's four Huey helicopters that landed up there last year. They have an ROTC place there. And if I take my camera up there, there's a place specifically for the military to get vaccines. And we don't want to talk about the implications of surveillance from these tools that they're using that's been talked about since 2004. Because there's no need for vaccines whenever you have electroceuticals that do the same thing. But if you're casting hate out through these frequencies, I don't know what to say, but geoengineering, we're learning a lot. We're sure learning a lot. I'll tell you that. I mean, thank God we had all the airplanes come by and spray charged aerosol release experiments over this community. Just thank God. And then the domestic terrorism that takes place, and there's nowhere to file complaints. Nowhere to file complaints. Well, they call it in the military electronic warfare. And when you're dealing with little electronical parts, substrates that you can control, that's called electronic warfare. Electronic harassment. Whatever. Because we all know you could take... I talked to a guy that used to make weapons. He used to just take antennas and set it up in a phased array. Take these phased array antennas, set them up next to one another in a specific pattern. Just point it at the enemy from 20 miles.